Good afternoon. This is Dr. Bill White, and we're going to talk about some deep bite cases here for a little while. I'm not advocating that you jump on a case like this starting off. I did this one when I was quite young in orthodontics, but there was nothing else for this man to do. It was either that or he wasn't going to do anything, and you could hardly make a set of dentures to fit this guy. The bone would be so fouled up. So anyway, I'm going to go through and show you what to do, and if you get a chance to work on somebody who is not going to, doesn't want to have the oral surgeries done, and doesn't have anybody else to do anything further for him, go ahead and take the case and do it, though it will cost you money. But you will learn an awful lot when you do these terribly bad cases. So let's go ahead and get started here. This is a real nice young man, and I am glad to have worked on him, but this is about as deep a bite as you can even imagine, you know. And if he went in to get dentures, I mean, they would have a hard time getting the bone structure and everything lined up to do a set of, to do something like this. So anyway, if you learn a lot doing this by moving the teeth around. You're moving the whole bony base of the mouth around, and you'll end up, if nothing else, you'll have better bone for him to build dentures on later on. So just stick with me for a little bit, and we'll go through this, and I'll show you some advantages of doing this. Now, there's certain things that let me see if I got started on this right. Certain things that we know how to do, and that was to open the bite up. You know, we've done that. You take this auxiliary wire and go in here like that, and now we put an additional arch wire in there and bend it down and hook it to these teeth or tie it with chains, and it'll start picking this up. As it picks this up, it pushes this down back in the back like this. If you do not want this to go down, then you bond some acrylic on the back teeth like this, and if it bites on that acrylic, it'll keep these teeth up and these teeth down, and you use the muscular force is going to counteract this. But that's what you would do. And down on the bottom, we also come in something like that, raise this up and tie it to these teeth and brings them down and pushes this up in the back in here. And let's just run through it. And I don't expect you to jump on cases like this, but there may be somebody out there that's advanced enough. We had to open him this wide to get his front teeth together, and that's terrible. Now, if you were going to pull his teeth and make dentures for him, you got a problem with a bone structure like this, you see. So orthodontics can be used. I mean, you can do this on a person when they're in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, way on down the line. You can do this for an adult, a person like that. All right, here we go. We put a intruding wire to bring this down. I tied it to the teeth here. This was several years ago when we did this. I hadn't perfected some of the stuff that we did when I retired, but we're going down with those teeth. Now we'll come in, and you see how this tooth is crowded in here. This will pull these teeth out and this layer right here, and we just keep moving it. I did take out some teeth on this young man, I think he's missing a molar in here, but we took one out there, or maybe it was bad, and he just lost the tooth. I don't remember. Now the lower anterior is crowded, and we're going to move the cuspids back. And by the way, you can expand lower cuspids all you want to, but you don't do them like this, or they'll go back. You do them like this. But it takes longer to move the roots back. So when Dr. Little asked the students to expand the cuspids, they just went like this because they're in a hurry. They didn't want to get back those roots up. If they'd back the roots, that crown does no sacred calling that's going to make it come back over here. Now if you do this, the roots are there already. They will come back. So that's something that we could not believe that, but anyway, that's the problem that they were having. And we've extracted bicuspids in here. All right, here's a guy. He's got some problem with his skin, but how he can have this normal facial structure and have the teeth lined up like that is hard to tell. And so, anyway, when he opens his mouth a little bit, you see a little bit of the problem, but then when he opens it big, you see a big problem. And so we were back, this was nothing but bands, and this was 8 of 76 right there, and we were still doing some bandage work with that. So I go through it from here. This intruding wire, you see, it was down here somewhere, and that is a little loop that comes over like that, and now you come off here. Now when I pull this wire up, it tightens that spring. Can you see that? And it tightens that up, and this makes it put more force down here, but it'll have the same lifting force back here in the back of the mouth, and it'll tend to open this bite. As we cover this is going to try to go up. Now if he chews a lot, it won't go much. If you want to keep it where it is, bond some acrylic and put some Vaseline up here, let it bite down on that, put that on both sides of the mouth, and you won't increase, because they'll bite on that like mad. And when you get this down, you take that off, and that will close back up again, and you go there. So now let's see. Okay, on this side we're just moving various teeth, getting them back in place. Tilt that tooth back up. After I get it back, we'll line the teeth up. Let's see, I think I left some marks on that. And it goes back to that. And you'll notice it's gradually getting a little better and a little better as it goes along. And you see that cuspid coming. So I'm going to go ahead and move it. Now, if you want to do this, you're going to have to come back and study this like mad to do it. But if you ever do this, it gives you confidence on most any deep bite you're going to run into. It won't be as bad as this one. Now, there we are. There, it's 1977, and that's not long that we've been in there. Now it's beginning to look like this. We're turning around in elastic thread, different things. Now we'll pull that tooth through. Today we would come in with an elastic chain on this and put a lump of acrylic like we did here, and that chain around, going the wrong direction. Hook it up right here. Run around like this, and come over here and hook it to that, and it'll pull this tooth through and rotate it in this direction as you get it up in place. And we have that method of rotating teeth is about as good a thing as any I've ever seen. I'm sorry I looked at that and didn't see the direction I was going to pull that, so you can think that wrong too. All right, let's get on down the line, and now we used a little wire. We wanted to close up some of this. We tied this wire to a lingual button back in here and came out, and then we pulled it real tight, and then we got in here and twisted the wire, and it pulls this together as it keeps your arch form. You can put it on the inside. You pull it out here and it tends to move out that way. So you put it on the inside and it keeps the arch form good. So we tighten that wire in here, and I still use that some. However, we got these big daddy arches, and you can just do all sorts of things with them also. Now, here we are, and that is 3 of 77. Now, it seemed like we started it in 76. And we have the teeth have moved a tremendous amount, and not only the teeth, but all the bone structure that's holding the teeth up and the basal bone that's supporting them is moving to keep the support over those teeth. And all this is going on. Even if you failed and couldn't say it, you got better bone structure now for dentures, if you wanted to look at it that way. But don't do somebody, if they got somebody that can go to that really knows how to do it, let them go. But if they're going to just let it go to pot, then you tell them to come and let you work on them and do the best you can with it. And I will guarantee you that you will learn more doing that than you will reading a bunch of books on the stuff. Now, I don't mind any problem with the books, but here we are at 77, and we've come this far. And now it's 3 of 77, and we've got them, well, that's a little further in there. We really should get this tooth hooked up in here, and we'll close this space, and these molars will be further forward, you see, on this side over here. Back again, closing that. Now we're to that point. Now we just like a little bit of space closing this. And you see this curvature in this. If we pull this over some, then straighten that out too. And it's wisdom teeth. I wish I had banded this and hooked up onto it in that particular case. All right, we've still got the intruding wire on the bottom. And I'm going through this, it's kind of like a moving picture or something. But you can go back and study it. Now we put hooks on here, the hook elastics, stuff to it to pull back with that. Now that's 78, 1978. We started at 76, so it's a couple of years in there with the bands on. Now we come to this, it's 9 of 78, and we're getting pretty close to finishing this guy. And there it is, pretty well finished. I've got to close some space over on that. I guess that's the right side, the mouth. Now we're getting a midline. We got a midline elastic across here, and we got some class 2 on this side. So we're pulling this back and this forward by 2 different elastics, putting that in. And you can figure out, you'll work out ways to do things. And now, I don't know what the date is, but we're back to a pretty normal bone structure. And the thing you need to know is, you didn't have to saw this bone off to get it moved like this. You just moved the teeth, and the teeth carried the bone with them, and that happens all the time. And you've got a pretty well normal bone structure in here now, and it was one heck of a mess when we started this out. So, and I'm telling you, if you got somebody that can't afford or won't do anything, or wants you to work on them and do them, as bad as they are, go ahead and take them. You will learn more doing it than you can learn reading about it or me telling you or showing you. But you've got some pictures to go by, and so you can do this type of orthodontics. Now, there was a 79, we started 76, so at least we were in there 3 years, and we took him out of braces. The midlines on the teeth are lined up pretty good, not perfect. And we're closing up the space on it. And I haven't heard from this young man for years. In fact, in 1979, I don't know whatever happened to him, but if he's alive, I'd like for him to call me or write me a little note and stick on the internet here for it. So anyway, there it is again, and you can do that. Now, I want you to subscribe to our channel if you can. Do that, and I'm a member of the American Orthodontic Society. This is a society of general and pediatric dentists that do orthodontics, and they teach it, and we're teaching it all over the world. And I hope you'll get this and pass it on to whoever. And you look at that case and say, my God, that's impossible to do. It's not impossible if you just gradually work on it. It took us about 3 years to do that, but look at what this young man has now to live the rest of his life with compared with what he would have had. Now, you can say what you want to about straightening teeth and getting a smile and looking good, but a person who has a terrible mess like he had, it's hard for them to hold a job, or certainly not a television job, and do things with their teeth looking like that. Now he's got a pretty good smile and everything. It's not perfect, I'll say that. It looks like it needs a little more torque, and it probably got better as time went on, but we'd keep him in retention for a long time. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you'll remember this and try some of this tough stuff. Try some of this stuff. You will learn more doing it, and you won't be able to charge enough to pay this unless the guy just wrote it in money. But I'm going to stop now, and we will be back in touch with you. Hope you'll join our group and subscribe to our channel. So I'll say good night. Bye-bye.